and he could only answer 3 of them. Okay, and basically he hadn't read the Corporations Act, thought that it was irrelevant. And so I said to him, well, if I was to actually come along and sign up and you know, become a business, what would be my, you know, what would I become? And he said, well, you know, you would become a sole trader. And that is a really interesting term, you know, sole trader. And what that generally means, and he didn't know this, but in the Corporations Act, a sole trader is a member organisation of a securities exchange. That's the definition. Okay, stock exchange. A member organisation of a securities exchange. So when you become a sole trader, you actually sign up and you get an ABN number and you get a tax file number, and your all capital letter fiction will be registered, and if you sign your name to it, you enjoin and you become, and that's how you become liable for tax. That's how they get you, because corporations are liable to tax. Okay, you can't tax a natural flesh and blood being, because there's a hierarchy. For those who believe in a God or the universe or whatever all that there is, that all that there is creates us, and we create governments and we create legal fictions that create laws. There's a hierarchy system, and the way that this is structured is that one of those things can't step above the other one. We can't step up and tell the universe or God or whoever created all this stuff what to do. Same, a government or a fiction can't step up and tell a natural flesh and blood being what to do, but it can tell another entity. And so in order to get us into control, into subversion, the governments must get us to become an all capital letter legal fiction. And that's what all of you are. So that's what I'm saying.
Does that happen at birth, or does it happen when you become...
It usually happens at birth.
With a birth certificate?
Yeah, because that birth certificate is what registers you and creates the account and allows them to take out a bond, and they register that bond that goes on the stock market. It might get pooled with a whole lot of other bonds.
So this process that you've gone through, can you start that when your child is born? Can you...
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you start off by saying they're not an entity and they're not going to have a birth certificate?
Well, one of the things we're going to look at tonight is argument, because argument is part of this system called honour and dishonour, and this whole kind of like weird legal system that operates under 4 basic premises, and the first one is called silence. Okay, and silence is dishonourable. Okay, that's dishonour. You have the right to remain silent. They're telling you that you have the right to remain silent. Now, perhaps as an entity you do, right? But there's an assumption there. Now, if you stay silent, silent is a dishonour. When you dishonour the court, what happens? They throw you in jail, or bad stuff happens, right? Number 2 is argument. Okay, argument is also dishonour. You can't argue with the policeman. You can't argue with the judge, right? Because it's dishonourable. That's where it splits. Number 3 is acceptance. I accept what I did. I take full responsibility for my actions. That's honourable, okay? But it can get you into trouble. Sure, because then you become liable for everything that you do. And in the legal world, you don't want to be liable for all of this fictitious stuff. So we have number 4, which is it's the acceptance. It's the conditional acceptance. There it is. Conditional. Okay. So we have conditional acceptance. I accept what you're saying for value and consideration upon proof of claim. Bang. So let's say you're the judge. Okay. We go into this fictitious Alice in Wonderland court, and there's a charge. So here we are. We're in a circuit court, and there's a charge. Okay, because at the moment the court is dead. So get this right. The court is dead. It cannot move, and a court has to move in order to do anything, right? And so when you go into the court doesn't actually have any jurisdiction over you, and not many people realise that. Okay, they've been given a summons or a present. Okay, they've been given a presentment to come along and appear. But what happened? You know, you went out to the mailbox and there was a letter. And on the letter, it looked like your name. But was it really your name? It was actually addressed to the all capital letter legal fiction, wasn't it? And so you opened that letter, and in opening the letter, you accepted that you are the all capital letter legal fiction. You enjoined again, because it's illegal to open another person's mail, right? So you opened it up, and here's a summons. And, you know, it might have this all capital letter legal fiction that kind of looks like your name written on it. And you go, oh, shit, looks like I've done something wrong and I'm going to have to go to court on this day. So you turn up at the court. And, okay, you can be the judge today. What would be the first thing that the judge would say to me if I was sitting in the courtroom?
Could be a myriad of things, I'm not sure, because it would depend on the circumstances.
What would be the very first
I've
thing
never
that...
been to a court.
And ask for your name. Ask
Yeah.
to state your name.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But actually, probably the first thing they
That's
would
what I've
do...
seen on TV.
Yeah, the first thing they would probably do is to ask you to stand up. All rise. Okay, please stand.
Mm-hmm.
And if you conform with that, you give up your rights instantly. You become subject to their jurisdiction of this fictitious court. Because you've given away all of your natural common law rights just by doing what the judge said to do without any argument or anything like that. So the judge says, you know, please stand, and everybody stands, okay, and that's it. He'll then ask you for your name, because that's the important thing, because what he's actually reading is the presentment. And so he's looking at the all capital letter legal fiction, and he's saying, Mr. Anderson, you know, please state your name, you know, and you say, Mr. Anderson. And that's it. He's got you, because you've then become the legal fiction again that's on his presentment. At that point, he can do whatever the hell he wants to you.
So by not standing and not saying anything, if one actually showed up at a court,
What would happen?
what are the implications of that?
If you didn't stand up, you would actually...
And refuse to say it.
Sure, that'd be number two. That'd be number two here. That would be argument. Or it could be silence. If you sat there and did nothing, that'd be dishonour. Okay, you'd be
And the implications of being dishonoured or in a dishonouring situation could be quite...
very bad.
Assumed guilty.
Yeah, this is not a position you want to be in, okay? You don't want to be dishonouring, you don't want to be silence. Because silence is tacit agreement. Okay, silence is agreement in law. It's an assumption, yes, but silence is agreement.
Mm.
So is there any other... I'm just trying to see what other... Well, I've never been in this situation, so I don't know.
Sure.
I've
Well,
only seen it on TV, but if
that's what
somebody
we're...
did not stand up,
Yeah.
and when they were asked the question to identify themselves, if they spoke, not remain silent, spoke, but challenged the court system there and then,
Mm-hmm.
and could come up with enough arguments to sort of be meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
to challenge what the judge was saying, and because of an understanding of what you're actually trying to relay to us at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the bigger picture in that, and defending themselves, well, no doubt any sort of resistance from people would also be taken into account by laws or whatever.
Sure.
And the judge would have some sort of recourse of action. But I mean, what sort of situations could an individual resort to actually directly challenge exactly what you're saying?
All right. Well, I'll go into that
falling
exactly.
into the trap of actually being part of the system.
No, because it is a
Yeah.
trap. Those two things, silence and agreement, silence and argument, okay, are the two tools that he will use to try and get your jurisdiction.
What I'm trying to say is, can you put where you've got to now in the discussion and everything is great. It's all in theory though.
Mhm.
Could you give us practical examples of how this is actually
Sure.
expressed?
Ask me my name.
Agent J, what's your name?
Your Honour, I shall give you my name upon proof of claim that you have established jurisdiction over the matter pending.
Good. Okay.
Or, I shall give you my name upon proof of claim that there is a controversy before the court.
Right, that would be really throwing it back in the face of the judge.
Sure,
Yes.
it's the hot potato thing. He's thrown the hot potato at you, and you just pass it on back to him. Because at that point, he doesn't have jurisdiction, right?
And so